my question for this morning is, what's it like to be dead? You know, one of the things that I've experienced over the years, and as Sharon was saying, it's over 50 years I've been with you. And it doesn't seem like 50 years, but it is. And next week's my birthday.
Oh,
Happy birthday. And I'll be 72 years of age.
wow.
And I don't feel 72. I might be 72, but I don't feel it. And in that time, those years have just gone by. And isn't that the truth with our lives? That our lives just disappear so very quickly. And we find ourselves using words like, it wasn't a year ago, was it? No, that couldn't have been 5 years ago. Definitely not. And our lives just kind of slip away from us. And the question is, are we appreciating that time that we have that's so precious to us? Now, we people who call ourselves spiritualists, and we people who call ourselves mediums, still human just like you, but we suffer from the same things you do. Time disappearance, world change, the uncertainties. Can I pay my PG&E bill? Can I survive through times of austerity? Why do I need to go through all those things? And the answer is there's no answer. It would be easy if there was just a kind of nice, easy answer that I could put in package and sell it in Costco by the pound. There is no answer. There's only what I would call life's experience. And in that life experience, we do experience many different things. And as Sharon was saying earlier on, when you look at the people who are suffering in Buffalo at the moment, when you look at the people in different countries around the world, Croatia, etc., their type of suffering is also very different. But it's suffering, nevertheless. And I learned to experience simple things in life. I used to, some years ago, spend a lot of time in South Africa. And I would go out there and I would do seminars and I would do readings and all of those kind of things. And one of the things that I saw there that touched me greatly was the levels of poverty in the villages, that they didn't know where their next meal was coming from. And hardly any clothes on their back that you could talk about. But they always seemed to have a smile on their face. And that touched me greatly because their simplicity was the key to quality of living. And we, in this Western culture, if I can use that vocabulary, we have so much. And I don't know that we always appreciate how much we have. You know, you have yourself a nice new Cadillac and you're looking for a Porsche. You know, there's always a kind of the next step of the wish list. But one of the things that I've learned is you don't take any of that stuff with you. When you pop off, and that's the Russian medium, his name was Popov. When you pop off to the spirit world, somebody else is going to get that stuff. And they're not necessarily going to appreciate it the way that you did. They're going to get access to the money you've hidden under the bed. They're going to spend it and say, thank you very much. And all of those things that we seem to value are the things we leave behind. And what we should be looking at are the things that we don't leave behind. So what could be the kind of things that we don't leave behind? I would suggest to you memories. Memories are things we don't leave behind. We take them with us when we go to wherever we're going. When we leave those people behind us still in this world, they have the memories of the importance of those contacts. They cherish those things, they value those things. And hopefully those memories are a good example in their lives to follow, that they can pass on to other people. Many people over the years say to me things like, well, does the spirit world not get frustrated about us? You better believe it. But why doesn't the spirit world change us? Well, they try. But we've got to be open to that process of change. We've got to see the benefit of the process of change. We've got to want to buy into it. And by buying into it, we set ourselves up as the example to follow. And it doesn't matter whether we live in Jersey or whether we live in San Francisco or wherever we live, we can still be a good example of humanity. And that's why the spirit world doesn't worry about us. They're often concerned about us. They often think, where are they going? What are they doing? And it's always about concern, but they don't worry, because all of us, and I include Charlotte in this, all of us are born inherently good. See, I include Charlotte.
Thank you.
And given the right kind of circumstances, good always comes up to the surface. And when you look at the history of humanity, whether it's in good old US of A or whether it's in old-fashioned Europe, where I come from, but you look at the history of humanity, there's been a lot of tragedy, a lot of barbarism, a lot of bad things have happened over the history of time. But you know, good always triumphs in the end. And it triumphs when enough people, individually and collectively, say enough's enough. And when they say enough's enough, then things begin to change. And this world starts to become a better place again. But I always have in mind that we learn most from our mistakes. We learn most from the things we get wrong. Given that within our characters and personalities, we recognize that mistake. And as the monkey said when he put his hand in the fire, I'm not going to do that again. And you don't do that again. So you make your mistakes the stepping stone for the next step to improvement. Now you might say, but what can I do? I'm only one individual person in 300, 400 million. You are that one person that can make that change. Everybody has the opportunity to be the best ambassador of spirituality that they can be. And you don't have to die to find heaven. Because heaven is where you exist. Heaven is what you're experiencing, not necessarily what you think you're looking forward to, what you think you're looking for. And if we can just bring in our attitude and mentality, that heaven back to earth, in our behavior, in the way we treat people, and eliminate separation, eliminate segregation, eliminate religious, cultural prejudice. And if we can just treat each other as equal human beings, each with an entitlement to have our own opinion, an entitlement, even though it's not our opinion, it doesn't matter. So who's got their phone on? Well, somebody does. Julie,
Bend over and stop your phone. I shut it off.
So it's that row.
And you're looking around like.
that's okay, because that could be the spirit world sending a message, texting, emailing, and Siri. I just laugh when I say that to you, because my partner in Switzerland, part of her mediumship is with Siri. When she's in the middle of her readings, Siri will come in and give the name of the communicator in the spirit world. So the spirit world is learning how to use technology. So that might have been your first step in mediumship development, and you just didn't know it. But I think that's one of the points that we need to be aware of, is that the spiritual world is constantly developing. They're constantly changing. Although they may have passed away a year ago, 50 years ago, 200 years ago, don't think that they're stagnated, because they're not. They're looking always at ways of how they can communicate with us. And they are, and I'm serious when I say that about Siri, they are using modern technology as a means of saying, we still want to communicate. We're not here to abandon you. We're not here to leave you to your own devices. We're here because we love you. But we can love you best when you're a good ambassador of the things that you say you believe in. And we're all good at talking a good, what's that you're drinking? Tea. We're all good at talking a good game, but we're all not necessarily good at playing that game. And if we can bring into place the playing the game as a good ambassador of spiritual truth, then maybe the spirit world can have a holiday. Maybe they can have a break for a little while, and they're not constantly thinking, oh God, what is he going to do next? Because that's often the case. And when they communicate, very often when they will say things like, and I hope it doesn't happen today in the demonstration, but they will say things like, don't do what I did when I was in this world. Change, learn, and get into this idea in your mind, that piece of wood on your shoulders. Get into your mind the idea of get out of criticism and get into curiosity. But why is that person the way they are? What's made them the way they are? What's brought them to that point? So instead of criticizing, can we do anything to support them, to help them, to find a better way? And we mediums are the worst in the world. I've got to say that, and I'm including you in this. Because generally, we talk too much. We just do. And the reality of humanity is we need to learn to listen. Not to talk, but to listen. And when we start to listen to people, we can get an insight into their life. And then we can find maybe ways of communicating with them in a better way. So your job for this week as we move ahead is to spend more time listening to people than talking to them. That includes me as well. So that means I've got to sit down in a minute. But spend more time listening. Spend more time being interested in that person or persons. Get to know them. And it's easy to love the people we like. It's much more difficult to like and love the people we don't like. And that's our test, is to find that middle pathway. That middle pathway, you know what it's called? It's called the jovial spiritualist, the happy medium. We've got to find that happy medium pathway with people. And not everybody's going to be interested in the spirit one. That's not a job to convert. That's not a job. If they're interested, the door's open to them. If they're not interested, it's not a job to convert them. It's not a job. And I often say in different cultures, people are quite comfortable with their religion. They're quite comfortable with being an atheist. They're quite comfortable being an agnostic. We're going to find out anyway. So it's not a question of conversion, but it is a question of understanding. So let's try to take this week ahead as a week of having a better understanding of those round about us. And if we can help them just a little bit, and that goes for you guys that are online as well. You're not excluded from this, not at all. Even though you're not speaking to me yet, try to see what help you can bring to them, that they can, within themselves, benefit and grow out of the experience with you. Have a think about it. That's it. I'm done.